I thought the last take was bad, but this one's even worse.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the book, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Happy Tuesday before the Iron Bowl. We only have, 4 sleeps left. We got 2 sleeps left till we get a nice Thanksgiving meal, and then 2 more sleeps until it's Iron Bowl time. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things in regards to the Iron Bowl. We're going to talk hoops, big win last night. We're going to talk about a key matchup that I think we really got to pay attention to on Saturday. But we're going to start off, and we got to talk about Joel Klatt's take about the Iron Bowl. Fox analyst Joel Klatt. Look, I'm only going to do this. I'm only going to do a Joel Klatt take. This is the last time. Because it's come to the point where it no longer feels genuine from him. It feels like I'm trying to be outlandish. I'm trying to be cutting edge. I'm trying to have a stark contrarian take. And he goes on to the next round. And it doesn't feel real anymore. It feels fake. It feels like we're just trying to come up with something for clicks or for reaction. So I'm going to play the take. And if you remember, the last one he had was that Auburn's a bad job because it's not the best job in the state, which is without a doubt the dumbest opinion from a football person that I've ever heard. So you can't be a successful job if there can't be multiple schools in the same state that can be successful. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But this one may take the cake.
Klatt, you haven't lived in this state. They live in separate states.
You guys
Klatt,
haven't lived in that rivalry.
Klatt, they live in separate. They live in separate states. These are the same state. Same state here, Klatt. Smaller territory.
I mean, there are people that mumble in church if the pastor references this game the wrong way.
Guys, I love you.
Oh, don't
the
do
Iron
this.
Bowl
Don't do
is
this.
not
Klatt, don't
in
do
the
this.
hemisphere of Ohio
You're
State.
out of your mind.
Lance started the show with if 5.5 is a scary number, if Alabama loses this game, he went directly to arrest reports.
Yeah, the arrest reports Sunday morning.
Oh, it will be, I'm telling you, it will be crazy, the people that will be getting arrested overnight.
Just because the Ohio State Michigan players don't have enough class not to fight, and Alabama's players and Auburn's players don't fight. Don't give me this.
Yeah.
It is not more heated than Klatt. You have never lived in this state. I love you like a brother. Okay. My brother in Christ, you have never lived in this state to see what an Iron Bowl is like.
All right. No, I'm not discounting it. I don't want to discount it. I think it's phenomenal.
I mean, you did.
And I love rivalry. I discounted it as compared to the greatest rivalry in sports.
Oh, what?
You know, let's just have some.
Are the Red Sox and Yankees playing tonight?
I mean, baseball is not a rivalry.
I was joking about ESPN.
Yes.
See what I mean? To this point, it doesn't feel genuine. Not in the same hemisphere. I mean, that's like saying that it's like you can't even put them in the same conversation. And then he called it the greatest rivalry in sports, which is hilarious. Dunaway, he kept going, not Dunaway, Ryan Brown, he kept saying, you haven't lived in this state. And it's so true. And it's the biggest difference. And what makes this rivalry so unique is that it's literally within the same state and a smaller state to add to that. We're not talking about, we're not talking about a dividing line from one state to the other. You meet once a year at a spot, and then after the game, you go back into your corners, and you don't necessarily have to interact that much for 365 days. You're talking about husbands and wives. You're talking about fathers and sons. You're talking about brothers and sisters. You're talking about people that are so intimately close on a family level, on a friend level, your neighbor next door. Like you're living in it every single day. You're living in it when you go to church on the very next day. So on church on Sunday, you're going to be in the middle of it. There's probably going to be a funny little joke, and it's probably going to run from the pastor, and it's going to rub half the people the wrong way, probably. It's uncomparable. It's not really comparable at all when you talk about. Hold on, let me back up. I don't want to go into the hyperbole of not in the same hemisphere, but I don't think it's very comparable when you have two states versus you have as intertwined as this Iron Bowl rivalry is within a state. To me, that ramps up the intensity like a thousand times. That ramps up the feelings like 1,000 times when you can't escape it. You're living in it every single day. It truly is that it is really true in this rivalry that the fear of losing is greater than the joy of winning. That is so true about this particular rivalry because you cannot escape it. It's the opposite with Ohio State, Michigan. You can literally escape it like 1 hour after the game. Sure, you may have to see highlights on TV, but you're going to go off into your little corner in your little echo chamber, and you're going to be fine for 365 days. To say it's not in the same hemisphere is just wild. A guy poisoned 100-year-old trees. Give me something remotely equivalent with Michigan and Ohio State. They joked about the police records, but it's true. There will be house parties. There will be watch parties. And if Auburn happens to upset Alabama, which is not, it wouldn't even be that big of an upset this year. It's only a 5.5 point spread. There will be physical altercations that will end in violence. I mean, it just is what it is, and I hate to laugh about that, but it's the truth. Michigan and Ohio State, their game is at 11 o'clock. It's the first game every single year that you watch on Rivalry Sunday, and it doesn't matter what time you put the Iron Bowl. Sometimes it's 2:30. A lot of times it's been at 2:30. This year it's going to be at 7:30. It doesn't matter where you put it because all eyes are going to be glued on it. You can put it at 2:30, end under the lights. You can put the whole thing under the lights. You can put it prime time. That's just the way this game goes. That's the way this game is every single year. It's one of the highlights of the year for not just Alabama, but for the country. I mean, you have some of the biggest moments in sports that happen, that are memorable, that have happened in this game. I talked about this with Mike G. I can't think of a big moment. I can think of big moments in a lot of different rivalry games. I can't think of one. I can't think of one in the quote unquote big game. I think the Desmond Howard Heisman celebration was in that game, but I don't know that. I don't know that for 1,000% fact. And then to call it the greatest rivalry in sport, I can think of like 3 or 4 different rivalries that I think are probably greater. I would say Duke and North Carolina basketball may be at the top of college as far as rivalries go. I think it'd be a coin flip depending on who you ask between that and Auburn and Alabama. And they are different states. No, they're not. They're in the same state as well. So it's Duke and North Carolina. You're both in the same exact state, very similar to Auburn and Alabama. And I think their proximity is probably a little bit closer. Everybody's a little bit more compact. I just it comes to the point though, like we're not going to talk about him anymore. We're not going to talk about Joel Klatt takes anymore because they're so unserious. Like, that's just an unserious take. And I don't really, I guess it serves its purpose because it's got me talking about it, but this is the last time I'm talking about his opinions on football. Let him go be on Fox, talk about Colorado and, whatever. But that's just silly talk. Absolute silly talk. We're going to talk about a key matchup in the Iron Bowl, just an average rivalry here in just a second. We're going to talk about the hoops matchup as well. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to me, Kyle Rush with Keller Williams Real Estate. Go to, you can email me at kylerush@kw.com, part of the Legacy Property Group. Just closed. I talked about this the other day. Just closed on a short-term rental townhome that's has $15,000 worth of builder incentives. Got 3 of those left. It's like ready made. So they're just going under construction. Should be ready in just a couple of months. So give me a shout if you want the information on that. Also got some game day cottages less than 1 mile from the stadium. Can you imagine your own parking spot pulling up on game day? And then you don't have to go fight downtown. You don't have to buy a parking pass. You just walk. You just literally walk to the stadium. Fantastic. Can send you that information as well. And then if you're just looking to buy, build, or sell as well, I can help you with that too. So give me a shout. Kyle Rush, Keller Williams Real Estate. And one more, let's go with rowback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. Get your Auburn licensed apparel. I got my Auburn hoodie on right now. Their hoodies are phenomenal. They feel great. I just love them. I'm not going to lie. Love them. So show them some love. It's rowback.com. We'll be back right after this. One of the things that DJ was asked about was Alabama's run game. And in particular, they're not, when you just look at rush attempts, yards per carry, you're like, there's something there. They don't run the ball really well. Maybe Auburn has an advantage there. If they're trying to, Auburn's really good at stopping the run. So if they try to run the ball, that seems like it would be in the favor of Auburn. But what DJ mentioned, and I thought this was really interesting, and I ended up digging in a little bit deeper. He said, well, they don't run the ball well, but they use a lot of short passes on the perimeter to the running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers that to them is essentially another run. So while there are a lot of things that may not show up on the stat sheet as a run, they probably view those no different than they do turn around and handing the ball off as they do a quick pass to a running back in the flat in space, a pass to a tight end in space, a pass to a wide receiver behind the line of scrimmage, or a quick pass to a wide receiver to go pick up those 3 or 4 yards that you would get typically out of a running back. When you look at their receptions, essentially almost 1 out of 4 receptions goes to a running back or a tight end. Auburn's is not even remotely close. So they really, really like to involve their backs and their tight ends in the running game. So I think, guys like Xavier, guys like X, guys like Robert Woodyard, guys like Elijah Melendez, guys like Bryce Diaz, those guys are going to have to come up big when you get in those 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 situations. They're not necessarily going to turn around and hand it off. Those 3rd and short situations, they're not necessarily going to turn around and try to pound it. Now, I think the last game they did try to give the ball a little bit more to Daniel Hill, their bigger back. He's like maybe 240 pounds. Like he's a monster. They seem to get a little bit more push in those situations, but in reality, what they want to do is get a ball to one of those backs in space, or again, one of the tight ends or one of the wide receivers. So it's going to be a different type of challenge. I don't know that we've really faced an offense quite like that. They'll bunch in tight, and then everybody spread wide after the snap. It puts a lot of stress on your eyes, a lot of stress on your responsibilities. The good thing is I feel like Auburn has the team speed at linebacker to be able to be very, very effective. Obviously, Xavier Atkins is the best of the bunch. He's gonna have to have a big game for Auburn to be able to stop those drives, get those big stops on third and short, third and manageables. Third and manageables is where Alabama is going to be so good and so tough, and that's where we're going to have to be much sharper, I guess. So we'll see how that particular matchup plays up. I think the biggest matchup is going to be Auburn's offense versus their defense, in my opinion. That, to me, is going to decide the game, because you got to make sure that, or you got to see if you can keep it going for 3 games. You got to see if the Vanderbilt game was not a fluke, and you can go out there with Ashton against the statistically best defense in the conference and make it happen again. So I think that's going to be the biggest matchup. But this is another matchup within the game that I think we need to watch. Let me know your thoughts on that. And then lastly, we got to talk about the hoops. We got to talk about the hoops win. Auburn takes down Oregon 84-73. That's an 11-point victory, which is very key in this particular format. Todd fouled out too late in the game. I think Auburn was up like 7 or 8 points, and Todd fouled out. And I was a little bit nervous because I think we had maybe a turnover pretty quickly after that. But you're worried about getting the ball in. You're worried about then getting the ball across the court. Or maybe we turned it over on his 5th foul on the inbound. They were being really aggressive right there at the end, as expected. But regardless, Auburn holds them off. For the longest time, it felt like you just needed that kill shot. Auburn was hanging right around, 7 to 8 points, 6, 7, 8 points right there for like maybe the last, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And you just couldn't quite hit that kill shot or go on that kill run to put the game away. Oregon kept hitting threes late, but they did. They pulled it out. They played really, really good defense. Turned Oregon over 18 times to only our 6. That's just crazy. Didn't turn it into a crazy amount of points, but they just turned them into stops. 14 points off turnovers. I guess that's pretty good. That's a pretty decent amount. Once again, not shooting great from 3, 5 of 23 for 21%. That's got to get better, man. Keyshawn Hall hit a big 3 right there at the end, which was pretty much the dagger. I think it put Auburn up 10 points at one point in time and just kind of made it really tough for them to come back. Sway hit 2 big free throws right there at the end. We actually shot pretty good from the line, 19 of 23, which is fantastic. We shot the exact same amount of free throws. I haven't seen that very often. 23-23, and we hit 1 more than them. They killed us on the boards. It's really the turnovers really are what changed this game. They killed us on the boards 46-34. So they're plus 12 in rebounds. They just turned the ball over more. A lot more. So you play Michigan tonight. Michigan absolutely destroyed San Diego State. They won by like 40, I think. It's crazy. But the key is going to be, obviously, number 1, to win. But then you have to look around and see what the biggest point differentials were game 1 or game 2 of the 2-0 teams. Now, the cool thing is Michigan had the biggest point differential. So they won by like 40 points or something. They won something big, something crazy. You only get to count 20 of that, though. So they're maxed out. But you get to play them. So you get to play them and you get to knock that point differential essentially out, because then you would be 2-0 and then they'd be looking at your point differentials. The other team, I believe, that was maybe Tennessee. There was one other team. I can't remember exactly who it was. There was one other team that was ahead of Auburn. So there was the top 3 point differentials were Michigan, this other team that I can't remember now off the top of my head, and then Auburn. Auburn was obviously won by 11. There were several that won by 10. That's really, really good if you want to get to the championship game. So if Auburn can win tonight, as long as there's not two more teams that win their game tonight by more than 12 points. Oh, I'm sorry, by more than 11 points, it looks like Auburn's got a really good shot to go to the championship. So Auburn's definitely, if you win tonight, you feel good about your odds as long as two other 2-0 teams don't win this particular game tonight by more than 11 points. So this really silly format may end up being a really good thing for Auburn. But it was fun. It was fun. The live stream was fun. The comments were fun. You were tied at half, and then Auburn kind of pulled ahead there at the end and closed it out. So big win for those guys. Big win against a very good opponent. An opponent that I thought had an opportunity to be another one that I thought had an opportunity to be a lot more physical, and they were at times and really give us issues. But Auburn still played scrappy defense and frustrated their guards and turned them over a bunch. And that's the story of the game. So good stuff from the Tigers as they go to take on Michigan tonight, and then we'll see how everything shakes out as far as the win differentials and things like that. Guys, let me know what you think about the take from Joel Klatt. Should we just stop talking about Joel Klatt? I think typically I'll give you 3 strikes, but I think 2 strikes and you're out. It's just not genuine anymore. Let me know what you think about any other key matchup that you're looking at as far as what to watch for on Saturday. And then let me know what you think about the Hoops win. I really appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.